Welcome to the Growth Pod. Today on the podcast, we have Tepper, who is the founder of Tyker, a global platform that helps people confidently manage their own investments. With over 9,000 customers across 50 countries, Sean knows what does and doesn't work when bootstrapping a successful business. Sean, welcome to the podcast.
Angela, thanks for the invite. Appreciate it.
I am very excited for our chat today. You're going to be kind of sharing the behind the scenes look of how you've built Tyker, but specifically, you're going to be sharing how you leveraged YouTube as a lead generator. But before we get started, I'd like to know what led you really to identify YouTube as a place to generate leads when building Tyker.
So our audience with Tykr is the retail investor. So everybody, hearing about a stock from a friend or hearing something on a podcast or seeing something on YouTube. And so we had to ask ourselves the question, where are people hanging out that want to learn about investing or learn about XYZ stock, whether it's Apple or Tesla or GameStop or wherever? Well, it's the place everybody's hanging out. So it's pretty obvious. So I had to learn, like, how do these quote unquote finfluencers on YouTube, how are they shooting video and what are all the tips and tricks with thumbnails and titling and hashtags and all that. So it was a journey, but was able to figure that out as well. But yeah, essentially you just ask the question, where are people hanging out? Where's my audience?
I love that. A common theme that we're finding in conversations with different experts is that you really want to begin with that end in mind and begin with the customer at the heart of everything. So I think it's so valuable that you started with, who your ideal customer is and where they are online and built your strategy around that. So you mentioned really making content for these people and breaking down the finfluencers and the different types of educational content already available on YouTube and adapting that for Tyker. What type of content do you post? Is it off like that kind of educational content? Take us through your content strategy.
Yeah, so when we first launched, we actually started focusing on stock reviews. Like I mentioned, Apple and Tesla and there's GameStop. And unfortunately, that strategy is like, it's only an immediate event that's relevant today. It's not evergreen. So that was our strategy in like part of 2022 when we started YouTube, and then 2023. And would notice these spikes. Like, for example, I did one review on Palantir, got like 16,000 views over like 2 weeks, but then it just falls off a cliff. That's not sustainable. It's vanity metric, but it's not really value add. So 2024, I told my team, let's go all evergreen, all educational, like, 5 easy steps or 3 ways you can quickly lose money. People, they want to avoid losing money, stuff that it could be relevant today. It could be relevant next week, 2 months from now, 2 years from now, doesn't matter. So that's how it changed. And it's the slow, steady growth. There's no vanity metrics here, but we know we're bringing in the right customers that want to invest on their own. And then, of course, those, views, we hope they convert to leads, because our platform is, I always say at the end, it's a free platform to download and use on your own, free trial at least. So.
I love that. I think it's so important that different type of content, evergreen versus the sort of more trendy things that can bring people in, but it's really just a quick flash and then it drops off, like you said. So you're really investing in the educational content now. How much of a time investment is it to get started on YouTube for your business? And then how much of a time investment is it for you now?
So what I do is to make it less intimidating for your audience out there is people can think, oh gosh, is this like a second job, or how busy is this? So what I try to do is I call it time boxing, which is common in the software engineering worlds, is I'll set aside like maybe an hour to two on Monday and just write out bullet point scripts. Like, never use a teleprompter. You never want to be reading. You want to be as natural as possible. So I'll create like bullet point lists. Like, for example, today I worked on a video was the 5 worst types of stocks to invest in. Not specific stocks like names, but types of stocks. And what I did is I created a bullet point list with a few sub bullets, and that was it. But it gives me enough of a framework to record on. I typically write for 2 hours on a Monday, and then I'll record either on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for about 2 to 3 hours. And sometimes it takes a little less, but I'll set aside the time, and that's it. I hand it off to my editor, which I find talent on Upwork. My team is primarily all overseas. And I hand it off to them. They'll do the editing and then promote posting to YouTube. And we've got a system in place. So my time investment isn't too bad. It's just you gotta block that time out on your calendar. You gotta have the discipline to do that.
Something that you mentioned is that you outsource a lot of the process. Is that something that you started doing from the get-go, or did you kind of figure out a way that you wanted your videos to look and then hand it off? And what was the thought process behind that?
Yeah, so I've been building software for about 20 years, so I have a lot of experience managing software engineers all over the globe, and a lot of the talent I've managed has been found through like an Upwork or some kind of freelance hiring platform. So when it came to the media work with YouTube, it was the same process. I knew like I have to ask myself the question, where can I provide the most value to Ticker? And editing video isn't it. And I'm very collaborative. Like I like to have people come in and bring their ideas to the table. I'm not always going to be like, it has to look like this. I'd rather shoot it, hand it off, and then I can go back to other things that are more important to grow the company. So fortunately my team, the hiring process is like, you want to see examples of their work and how good are they, and that was good enough for me to see their portfolio and then be like, that's what I'm looking for, let's go. And I don't split hairs on every detail of the videos. It's like you want it good enough, but you want to be moving forward with a purpose.
Yeah. Done is better than perfect. So I
Yes.
love how you said that you make sure that you're finding the right talent from the beginning, and then you trust them to bring their creative vision or their talent to the videos themselves. I think that as a business owner, you have so many different moving pieces, and it's important to know, like you said, where your time is best spent. And in your case, it is outsourcing. So, building on that, we've talked a little bit about the type of content and how you go about posting it. What is the best posting cadence in your experience for Ticker? And then, how does that relate to the leads that you're generating?
Yeah, so we try to aim for between 2 and 4 videos posted per week. And it's kind of a mix between long and short. The difference there is long form videos, it's the widescreen normal videos you see on YouTube. And then the short, it's like you flip your phone the other direction and it's vertical. And those videos should be 60 seconds or less. And then you can repurpose them on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok if they're 60 seconds. So yeah, that's kind of the idea. On Mondays, I'll try to write an outline for about 4 videos. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes 2, and then I can shoot those during the week, and then we'll go into post production editing, and then those won't post next week. It might be the week after because we have a backlog that we're always moving forward. But the idea there is they don't have to be perfect, but get as many out as you can on a cadence that you can manage that doesn't overwhelm you, because there's a formula with YouTube. It's like when you hit certain benchmarks of number of videos published equates to number of subscribers. And again, you want quality content, not vanity metric driven. And we do, because we do track our leads. Like, for example, I'll keep this short. When people join Ticker, we ask them, where'd you hear about us? Whether it's Google or YouTube or a podcast or whatever platform. And for context there, about 17% come from Google because we do SEO, and 16 come from YouTube. We also have a high percentage from referrals from friends. And then, of course, channel partners or partnerships. So I was like, okay, so SEO and YouTube are very much head to head. Let's see if we can get YouTube dialed up even more. So we knew it works, and it's just the more we grow our YouTube channel, the more our own platform grows. It's kind of on par with each other. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that. It sounds like you're leveraging multiple channels to advertise for Ticker. One thing I didn't hear is paid advertising. Are you running any paid ads, or are you leveraging just
No,
organic?
we did try 2 agencies in 2023, and unfortunately, they weren't able to generate any revenue for us. I do know ads; it can be very difficult. So we really lean into what works best, which is SEO, YouTube, and then affiliates. Aligning with people that are talking about finance already, and they can promote Ticker, and then we pay an ongoing commission for that. So it's a win-win. That's the best way to grow the business.
Yeah, I agree. I think that a lot of people start a business and they're really excited to run ads, but that's not always the best place for your business and they're not always going to be profitable. So I love that you said, you tried it, but you're leaning into instead the things that are actually working and driving that success. And you've been able to grow Ticker to over 9,000 customers across 50 countries. I know I mentioned that in your intro, but I just want to say that again because you were able to do this organically. And I think that a lot of people discredit the type of contribution that organic, meaning that you're not paying for it, can bring to your business.
Right, right. I actually, and I've talked to a lot of entrepreneurs, and organic is, organic SEO partnerships is the big one. Aligning with partners, that is actually the easiest way to go. I hear so many new business owners immediately, like you alluded to, there immediately arrive on paid ads, whether it's Facebook, Google, or YouTube. That's really not the end result. It's very hard to, generate even a profit with that strategy.
Yeah. And I think it's natural, right? You look at maybe some of the more established competitors in your space and you see that they're running ads. So then you're like, oh, well, I should also be running ads. But I actually have run a lot of paid ads for big companies, and you'll be surprised how many companies will just blow hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on ads that aren't profitable because they're funded and they have the money to
Yes.
spend. So just because somebody else in your space is doing it doesn't mean that you need to be doing it. And it doesn't mean that it's actually even working for them.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So let's get back to YouTube. I took us on a bit of a
Mm,
tangent,
sure.
but let's go through the step-by-step process, the customer journey, if you will, of somebody finding Ticker organically, engaging with your content on YouTube, becoming a lead and a customer. Do you have that journey mapped out? And then how do you bring people through that journey and encourage
Yeah.
them to take the next step?
Yeah. So with YouTube, we really focus on value going out, providing value to others. And since we're a low touch B2C SaaS, so our model will be very transparent. 14-day free trial, no credit card. We won't be able to get in with least amount of friction. And then we're $15 a month or 99 a year. So we try to be very in line with Netflix. And the idea there is with, for example, YouTube is watch the content. I always say at the end, if you're interested in giving Ticker a test drive, we always say give it a test drive. If it's your thing, great. If not, no worries. And then I always say this, that creates it really removes the pressure is I'll say, don't even listen to me. Like I'll talk about Ticker and stocks all day. Don't listen to me. I always say, go to our trust pilot to really see what our customers are saying. And that's when I do say, hey, we're 4.9 out of 5. And that right there is enough for people to say, okay, I'll sign up. So then when they sign up, then the education continues. We send a new educational email every day for over 20 days. It's a 14-day free trial, but over 20 days, you get a new tip teaching you like when do you buy stocks, when do you sell stocks, how do you reduce risk, and the easiest way to invest your first $1,000, stuff like that. And that really peppers in the value. So leading up to the 14 days, there's enough value going to them to encourage people to say, hey, this thing is for me. I can do this on my own, because that's a big thing. It's confidence. It's the number word. We A/B tested like crazy, and people want the confidence to do it on their own. So yeah, it's really education over that duration to get them to pull out their credit card and add it to Ticker, and then from there we continue the education and teaching them how to do the tool, which is all automated with our sequences.
Okay, so you start with this really low barrier to entry. You can try Ticker free for 14 days, no credit card needed. And then you're going to bolster that, or you do bolster it with your Trustpilot reviews. Don't take my word for it, take our 4.9 on Trustpilot, all of our reviews, that sort of thing. And then what you do is you double down on that. So now they're in the platform. You didn't ask for the credit card, so the trust is being established. Trustpilot also established the trust. And then you're building on top of that with all of the educational resources. And something that I love that you do is most people do like a 3 to 5 email welcome sequence, but you're sending out 20 emails in that welcome sequence once they sign up to, again, further create that value that Ticker can provide. And it's not costing them anything. They're learning all of this. So it's really truly a value add. So now the value that they're getting from Tykr without even having to pay for it is massive.
Nailed it. You can pitch for us now.
Well, I think it's just so important for people who are listening at home to understand that, when somebody's sharing an industry best practice, like maybe 3 to 5 emails in your welcome sequence, you don't have to stop there. You can use your own experience and build upon that. And it sounds like what you've shared is people get even more emails beyond those 20 emails, but really the 20 is kind of like the first sequence maybe that you've put together. I'm curious how often you update that email sequence.
Probably every 3 to 6 months, refining the copy, just to make it a little tighter and getting feedback from customers. You kind of learn what are their pain points, and then you address those pain points even better. Maybe even adding sequences to it. I have to drill into something there. A lot of entrepreneurs can feel like, well, people may get sick of emails and unsubscribe. Well, one of my buddies, he went to a conference that was talking about email marketing and how important it was. And they had case studies. And one of the case studies was Target. Big retailer, most of us are familiar with here in the States. And it's like that's their number one marketing strategy is ongoing email. Of course, it's promotions and discount on this, that, and the other thing. But education on emails, most people actually don't unsubscribe. And we're a case study to that. People do like it. If you send multiple emails per day and they're asking people to pay, then you're going to see unsubscribing. But if it's value going to them, they're usually, in most cases, they're opening it and then sending it to some folder they have saved called education or investing or whatever they want. But seriously, it don't be afraid to do that. The value going out to them is it works.
Yes, I think the important thing there is that you're providing value. You're not asking for a sale 20 days in a
No,
row.
no.
You're really trying to make sure that people are informed when they're using the platform, helping them use it more efficiently, but also making sure that, everything that you're doing is providing value to them at the end of
Yeah,
the day.
yeah, yeah. And you hit on a key word earlier, trust. Building trust is super important.
I love that. I feel like we could have a whole episode just on trust in business alone.
Yes.
Um, but I'm really curious. It sounds like you've been able to grow such an impressive platform already. But what's next for you, Sean?
Well, we just launched the mobile app, so super excited about that. And we did, yeah, that went well. And then we launched on Product Hunt as well. I don't know if anybody's talked about that on your show, but learned a lot of lessons there. We placed top 10, which gets us promoted to their newsletter. The next big thing we're really focused on are like an easy button. Like there's pre-made like lists of stocks for people. So we're working on that. We're also going to work on a community feature. So think like Instagram, but in Tykr. So you can talk to other investors and you could, like I could follow you. And when you buy more shares of XYZ stock, I get notified. Fun stuff like that. And another feature, I'll stop here after this, but where you can connect your broker to Tykr. Like, for example, I use Schwab, but there's people that use Robinhood or Fidelity or whatever. You connect it to Tykr, and then when you buy and sell stocks, they automatically update in Tykr. So it's everything's synced up. So a bunch of fun stuff like that. And we want to, make this super easy for people around the globe. That's the plan, at least.
Yeah, I love that. I think that there's so many cool features that you're building into the platform and the community feature as well. Again, just helps build that community around the product that you're building. If people are interested, one, in joining Tykr, or two, just keeping up with you online, where's the best place for them to do that?
Three easy places. Number one is you can go to Tykr, just tykr.com. You'll see in the first page there's links to the Apple and Android app. Second would be my LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. And then third would be you can go to our YouTube channel.
Amazing. And everything that you just mentioned will be linked in the show notes. So if you're listening at home and you wanted to visit any of those places, it's right there for you. Sean, thank you so much for joining us today. I know I learned a lot, and I hope our audience did as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Growth Pod. If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review. It helps us reach more entrepreneurs just like you. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.